This is a cracker, a flippin' corker of a Megacan. There's a Nazi trial in the city of Chemnitz, a special countdown of the 5 worst policies of each of the big political parties, and Megan describes in extraordinary detail maybe the worst drink she has ever had in her life. Can life get any better?
It's time for the latest episode of Megan's Megacan. My name is Megan. I'm here in Berlin with ex-Berliner Magazine and Konrad Werner. Hello, Konrad.
Hello.
You weren't looking at me, so I was like...
I was looking at the waves you were making on my little machine, on my little sound
waves.
recorder.
Good. That's nice. How are you today?
Yeah, good, yeah. Had to get my shorts out of the drawer again.
I know, we're all back in our summer clothes.
So this global warming is playing havoc with my
what are we gonna
wardrobe
do?
Planning.
Yeah.
I thought I'd retired my shorts, but no.
I almost put my summer dresses away, and now it's like almost 30 degrees in Berlin.
Can't make any plans anymore.
My neighbour had a package delivered to my house, and then she came just to get it before I came here, and she was like, it's a cardigan. And I was like, well. She was like, it was autumn when I ordered it. I was like, well, here we are. High summer. It is gorgeous though.
Yes,
it's nice to see Berlin like having a bit of life back in it. I don't know how I ever managed to life like at this level, and everyone I know is just like, I'm double booked all of the time. How did we do this? I was like, I don't know. We've forgotten all of our
I know
scheduling skills, and I think we're just saying yes to everything. I'm like, I literally don't have any time.
Yeah, I'm also quite busy.
Do you know what we're never too busy for though?
What?
Megacans.
No.
You have actually provided the Megacans this week. Do you want to talk us through what we're dealing with here?
Well, my local Spätkauf had these limited editions of CanLife's very own Purple Haze.
Do you want to explain why Can Life is a pun?
Well, Can is based on cannabis, and they've made all their drinks out of cannabis. And this one is specifically based on the Purple Haze, which I believe is one of the strains.
Oh, yeah, right.
Strains of cannabis, is that what you call it? And this one has got Zier vodka in it, and as well as hemp lemonade.
Oh, it's got you did say the Johannes beer.
And blackcurrant juice, yeah.
This could be quite... This is a lot of my youth in here. Like
in one little can.
Vodka, blackcurrant, not very much cannabis, but certainly when I was younger, I still thought that I enjoyed that, which I really, really don't.
But the Can Life company, they specialise in iced tea, and they do a lot of tie-ins with rappers.
I was going to say, is this part of the Deutschrap iced tea? Shout out to Maisie.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Maisie today when we got some... I saw the news that Bushido's wife is about to have triplets. Anyway, shall we? I'm quite nervous about this.
Yeah, I can't wait for it.
You're really excited, and I'm sorry, I thought of...
It says on the side, Can Life taste any better? Purple Haze, my elixir. The #1 premium cannabis drink, it says here.
Yeah, but you can just say that on anything, can't you?
Cheers.
Cheers. It's very black.
Yeah.
The can. I'm just looking at your face and I'm laughing too much to take a sip. Okay, now we know first sip counts for nothing in the world of megas, so... Oh my days, which is just as well. Fuck. Whoa. Oh, wow. Oh my God. Okay, second sip. Oh.
I don't know what that is supposed to be.
Oh. It literally tastes like I have put a joint in my mouth, like the end of a joint, the end of a fucking...
That everyone else has already sucked on.
Exactly. It's out. I'm holding it for some reason in my mouth and swilling fizzy, like, Vimto. Oh.
You're trying to wash it down a joint.
Konrad.
With fizzy
absolutely intensely foul.
Do you want a different one? Are we going to go to the emergency Megacans? You look like you're about to vomit. You okay?
No.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I don't know. I've probably like thrown this up before. I think deep in the past, like this has been the taste of the vomit, and it's.
Oh, it's triggered. It's triggered a memory.
Right. Okay. If I think of like horse food rather than a dirty old joint end, then that's fine. Right. Speaking of vomit,
it's a good job. It's a limited edition.
Yeah. Right. Let's keep it between the hedges here.
Okay.
What were you up to this week?
I went to Chemnitz again.
Nothing good comes of this. Why?
Can you remember why Chemnitz was famous in the last 3 years?
Yeah, because they had a fucking pogrom, basically.
Right. And there was a lot of...
When was that? 2019?
2018.
18!
Pretty much.
How long have we been doing this?
Exactly. It was one of our first few months.
Yeah, so there was some kind of horrible thing happened in Chemnitz, and then like people were just running through the streets attacking people of color, basically.
A young man was killed in a fight with an Iraqi and a Syrian.
Yes.
One of them is now in jail for 9 years. The other one has disappeared, probably gone back to Iraq.
And then the people of Chemnitz took it upon themselves. Not the people of Chemnitz. What happened was that some people in Chemnitz, but also the whole of the far right mobilized across the whole of Germany, and they all descended on Chemnitz in the days that followed. And what happened was that there was a Straßenfest, like a street festival, happening that weekend. Yes.
And in the middle of this festival, this was kind of used as an occasion because there were already a lot of people out and about and people drinking. And there was a lot of anti-immigrant violence basically blew up in the following day, and then the following 2 days, and then during that whole week, more and more neo-Nazis collected in Chemnitz from all over Germany. And by the end of the week, it was like from different demonstrations. The AfD mobilized a demo as well. Pegida mobilized a demo. So there were about 10,000 far-right people in the city a week later. But in the immediate aftermath, one thing that happened on the second day was that there was a famous Jewish restaurant in Chemnitz, and the restaurant owner was just locking up. He suddenly turned around and he was like he was confronted by about 10 or 12 masked men.
Oh my god!
Who suddenly started throwing rocks at him? Like Pflastersteine and bottles and beer bottles, and he was hit on nothing really bad happened to him. He was hit on the shoulder. But he wasn't seriously hurt. They went away and he called the police, and the police collected evidence, and they managed to find some DNA on one of the rocks. And a year later, they made an arrest after a lot of investigating and trying to figure out, because one of the people had a previous conviction, so they already had his DNA. And his trial happened yesterday in Chemnitz. He was like someone with far-right sympathy who was in Chemnitz on that day during those riots.
Is he from Chemnitz?
No, he's from outside Hamburg. So they had a trial. He was called Kevin A. And they had a trial for him, and he got a suspended sentence. He was accused of grievous bodily harm and property damage and a breach of the peace, and he got a suspended sentence of 1 year, which in a way was fairly lenient, even though you could sort of justify it. And in fact, the state prosecutor didn't ask for an actual prison term. He just, the judge basically just went with the prosecutor's recommendation, which was a 1 year suspended sentence. So obviously it would have been a lot worse.
So he was what exactly was he convicted of?
Breach of the peace and
but not
property damage and stuff.
But not this.
And yeah. The thing is, he got away with it partly because he didn't really cause that much damage. Like the damage to the restaurant wasn't that much, and also the guy wasn't. If the restaurant owner had been hit on the head and been knocked out or something, it could have been a lot worse for him. But none of that happened. So
why is being a neo-Nazi not just illegal?
Well,
sorry, I forgot. I'm sure there's.
What is supposed to happen is. Like a racially aggravated assault is supposed to be worse than a normal assault. You're supposed to get.
But he wasn't tried under that.
No, if you're convicted of a racist attack, you're supposed to get a worse punishment than if you're convicted of a normal attack, theoretically, But that's up to the judge to decide how you're punished in Germany. He didn't speak at all in the trial, because in Germany you don't have to speak at all, and you don't even have to enter a plea. And his defense lawyer tried to get him off. His defense lawyer said, like, oh, you can't prove that the DNA was, he could have been wearing someone else's gloves. There's all this stuff about, he kind of came up with this idea that someone else might have worn his gloves, and that's how his DNA got.
Gloves in courtrooms. It's just a fucking minefield.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't understand why it wasn't racially.
It was.
It's a hate crime.
Well, the judge only brought up the fact that in the last 2 years, nothing bad happened. Like he didn't commit any more crimes in the last 2 years, but he did have previous convictions, including for another breach of the peace, which involved throwing rocks in Hamburg. And he also was a drug dealer. He also got done for dealing ecstasy at some point. Now he hasn't
got prior convictions for. It's absolutely appalling. But I'm just I'm just trying to understand how how this has come to pass. But it's just going to be, the whole system's kind of fucked, isn't it?
Well, they could have really made an example of him, especially in the wake of Halle, and the wake of other racist attacks. They could have put him in jail, but the judicial system chose not to. You can definitely say that. It's specifically because he'd already had these other convictions, so he was already kind of on a warning. So now he's just on another warning, really. So I think I think it wasn't like a very serious crime in the end of it. The judge didn't really seem to take it very seriously. He was just sort of muttering through this. And also in the judge's statement at the end, he made a big thing about Chemnitz's reputation was damaged in this, he put it in this context of Chemnitz's reputation was damaged.
This is like when athletes rape women and they're like, oh, it's gonna tarnish his career. Like, fuck you. Take some responsibility.
Yeah.
Obviously, not all people in Chemnitz. You did seem to have the kind of environment that would be like, well,
yeah, because I think that was what stood out for me in the judge's statement at the end, was that he brought up Chemnitz's reputation, and not, for example, this sort of spate of far right violence like Halle and Hanau, and he didn't bring that up.
And this is exactly, I think, the big problem, and it's not just in Germany, but it's really pretty bad in Germany. There's such a lack of diversity, and the integration of people, even who have come here generations ago, is still shit. And Germany's legal system and legislation keeps it so, if you wear a hijab, you cannot be a teacher, stuff like that. It just means that exactly like you said, that it's not even so much how they're interpreting the law. Well, they do, because it is interpretation, but it's like the lived experience that everyone in power is speaking out of. They're still kind of, oh, well, this is still isolated problems and everything, and they don't actually understand the huge and far-reaching, horrible nature of racism within and anti-Semitism within Germany, and this huge far-right problem. And it's it's really hard.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's no attempt to
on the side of speaking out of white Germanness, not Germany as an inclusive and multicultural society, and what we need to do and how we need to speak and how we need to listen and learn. And
and also this restaurant has had anti-Semitic graffiti smeared over it, regularly in the last 20 years. It's been open for 20 years. They've already got reinforced glass on all the windows. Everyone knows this restaurant, and it's got this, and he's like,
it's delicious.
He's someone once threw a pig's head in the front garden and all this stuff. And the restaurant owner, he's from Chemnitz, and his family has been in Chemnitz for hundreds of years.
And yet he goes to the court, and it's well, those whole things, they really damage the reputation, rather than just it's absolutely unacceptable that you, as a business owner, and that's the thing, these people are not seen. It's still this othering. I mean, I don't obviously know the whole thing, but it's sort of from what you've said and how the judge was talking, it was not framed as, this is a long-standing Chemnitz institution, and we will protect our business institutions from the rabble like you. It was, there was maybe two sides. How bad was it really?
Yeah.
And I think it's not even so much a problem of the law and how it's interpreted, it's a problem. As I'm seeing, who is doing the interpreting and who gets to make those choices and who are they listening to and who are they standing for? It doesn't even occur to them. It's like oh, fucking hell. Anyway, I really want to go eat in that restaurant now. I would urge anyone that's in the near. I'm sure it's absolutely delicious.
Well, apparently it's really popular. It's always
sure
booked up. It's recommended in various Michelin guides and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really
go on
good.
a little trip to Chemnitz.
Yeah.
Not for a fucking Nazi trial for once. I can take you out to that restaurant.
Yeah. It's called Shalom.
Nice.
If you want to look it up.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing that people can do is donate money to things. I don't know. I'm trying not to be just like, here are my white lady tears. It's like what people do to like the Amadeo Antonio Stiftung. Who are just like constantly pointing out all the stuff that we've just talked about. Give them some cash.
Yeah. Anyway.
What else are the fucking twats up to?
Just some more election news.
Aye.
So you might have noticed that the CDU is not doing very well in the polling. In fact, they're polling under 20% for the first time in history.
Dear Christ.
I mean, in one poll. This is one poll from Forza from 2 days ago. They're polling at 19%, which has never happened before in Germany. The CDU to poll so low.
That's wild.
And meanwhile, the SPD is maintaining 25%, which is like a 5-point cushion. You can't really tell with opinion polls. Like, you never know what they really say, because
like,
always
don't
like
you kind of have a theory that everyone's just going to go out and vote CDU on the day anyway?
Well, that's like, yeah,
but
that's
no
what
one
I'm
wants
used
to
to in Germany.
publicly admit to liking Armin Laschet because, dear Christ.
Yeah, I think that's probably, like, it's hard. It's like when someone phones you and say, who are you going to vote for? From I'm from YouGov or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to say Armin Laschet. It's
no,
too embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. It's super embarrassing.
But in the privacy of the voting booth, when you got the little
the Val dinks,
when you've got the big pencil.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, this is quite a turn up for the books, and there is certainly a hint of panic in the CDU. It's very noticeable that Angela Merkel has spoken up much more than she ever has before, because she's still very popular. So she's mixing in, trying to do her bit for her party.
Do you think really, if you asked her, like, here, Angie, come here, do you Armin or Olaf, who's going to do the better job?
Well,
I mean, obviously she'd probably want to be like, this is my dream, that she would be like, you know what, it should be Baerbock, and I was wasted as a politician on the centre right. I should never have done it. It was a huge mistake.
I don't know. I think she's quite conservative in her personal views. I think she's.
You can like be.
I don't know, but
I don't think so. Not this mean, like, make money for yourself, Friedrich Merz nonsense.
No, she doesn't. I mean, she doesn't. I think personally, she would probably get on better with Annalena Baerbock and Olaf Scholz than Friedrich Merz and Armin Laschet.
I mean, anyone would. Literally anyone.
I mean, she has just come out this week saying, like, you know, who should you vote for? And she said, do not vote for Olaf Scholz, because if you vote for Olaf Scholz, then you might get the Linke in the government, which is what all the CDU people are saying.
Oh, that's nice. That's real.
It's like you're gonna get the radical left in. It's like Trump with Biden, you know. You're gonna let the radical left in. You're gonna let in AOC. If you let in Biden, you're going to let in AOC. That's what Trump was doing. This is exactly the same as what the CDU is doing now. Also,
that's nice. It's always good when people try and cover their own mistakes by just heaping nonsensical blame on others.
Yeah.
More of that.
So that's been the CDU line all this week, which really suggests they're getting a bit desperate.
Yeah.
Also, do you know what else they're doing? So I made a little. I've been making a list of new policies.
You have, and would you like to know what I'm calling it? Conrad's top of the policies.
Very good.
New theme songs to things I would sing. The Top of the Pops one. That's why we need Basti here.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah.
Am I stoned, or is it just
it's not
like
real cannabis? Is
I
it?
know, but I feel like because of the overpowering weed stench, like coming from my mouth.
It's just you just.
Oh God, I feel strange.
Okay,
so let's start with your top. So you've been making a list of just like interesting policies.
Well, yeah, because I think what happens is in an election campaign that each party wants to find a moment where it can say, on this day we are going to lead the debate in the news, you know? We're going to make a proposal, and then everyone else got to argue about it, and then we'll be in the news for about a day at least.
Okay.
And I think that's how strategies work, innit?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that seems to be what happens to be.
Sounds reasonable.
So
when we get Merkel on, when she's done, I don't think she's got, like, she could just be our, what else is she going to be at?
What do you mean? What is she going to do with her life?
She's going to come on and be our, like, periodic guest host. That's what I'm really hoping for.
You think she's got nothing?
Put little Mega in that little triangle on her hands.
Yeah.
She can sip away.
I could imagine her drinking the Megacan. I think she would like them.
100%. She'd nail it.
Which do you think would be Angela Merkel's favourite Megacan?
I've been thinking that, obviously. I think it would probably be a gin and tonic, eh?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
CD.
We haven't had one of these before. Like, where we just wander wildly.
You're digressing.
It's because you've given me drugs and booze, Conrad.
Okay. So the CDU has come up with a plan, which they've nicked from Denmark, which is to make the long-term unemployed work as street cleaners. This is.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be sick. What?
And it's not the Megacan. The Sven Schulze, CDU leader in Saxony-Anhalt, told the Bild newspaper today that he thinks it would be a good idea to have a rule to help the long-term unemployed to integrate into the labour market by making them do litter and leaf clearing in the streets to exchange for getting money from the state. He was backed up by the CDU's...
I'm drunk on high, and I'm lost for words on that.
The CDU's Berlin parliamentary leader Burkhard Dreger also said this would be a good idea, and so did Michael Kufer, who is from the CSU, which is the Bavarian version of the CDU.
The actual... What?
They already do this in Denmark, apparently.
Yeah, Denmark's also very right-wing and creepy.
Where it's been fairly controversial. A lot of people saying that it's it doesn't really help to get people back into work, and also it puts a lot of burdens on the local authorities.
Yeah, because let's all be clear here, this is not actually a policy aimed at helping people who are long-term unemployed, because that's not what this policy is about. This policy is about appealing to voters who don't like the idea of paying taxes to help other people, which I will never understand, but fine. It's absolutely insulting, and I'm sorry that people who might have long-term unemployment for whatever reason need to listen to such absolute horse shit from the biggest party here in Germany, supposedly a civilized and developed nation. Go fuck yourselves. Thank you. Don't give me any more of these.
Do you want to hear what I had on number 4 on the am I counting backwards? Yeah, I suppose I am.
What was that? 1? No,
that
4.
Was 5.
Oh, that was 5. Okay.
It has to be a countdown, right? Number 4 is the Green Party.
Right.
They have offered 1,000 euros subsidies for anyone who wants to buy a cargo bike. So if you elect the Green Party and they're in government and they get this policy through, you'll get 1,000 euros if you buy a cargo bike, towards a cargo bike. This will cost the state €1 billion, and it caused and it's part of what they call the Verkehrswende, the transport transition. And Annalena Baerbock is in favour of this, and she said that if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, because there's already a 6,000 euro subsidy for people who buy electric cars, so why can't you have 1,000 euros for buying a cargo bike? And it would be very green, and it would help to transport things around the city, and you wouldn't need to...
Yeah, but it's not actually going to make any more people... People are just going to upgrade their normal bikes to cargo bikes for, like, on Baerbock's dime. No.
You don't think it's a good idea?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's massively insulting to unemployed people. No. But, like, that's a low bar. I don't know. I think, couldn't we have, like, more systemic policy? Like, just...
Yeah, it's just one. It's just one idea, I guess.
That's just one of their sexy... It is a news grabber, isn't it? And people can discuss it. I'm unconvinced, but I'm not horrified. So
well,
there we
then,
go.
so is the Welt newspaper, and a lot of the you'll find them on your side too. A lot of the conservative media in Germany are very angry about the cargo bike subsidy idea.
Probably the different reasons why we're angry, but yes.
Okay, number 3 on my. I don't know if I'm actually going to make it to 1 with my. I think I might have planned my countdown badly, but anyway, number 3.
I think I planned my countdown badly. I think I might have failed to count to 5 successfully.
Backwards. Yeah. So number 3 on my linker list. What I'll do is I'll skip 2 and I'll go straight to 1, and hopefully people won't notice.
Okay, cool. Cool.
The linker are in favour of introducing a 4-day work week.
Yes, finally.
Which is it's the talk of the town around Europe. Iceland has tried this already quite successfully, a pilot program introducing a 4-day work week.
Iceland must have great crack, like bringing stuff in, because there's not very many people there. There's like 300,000 or something. They're just like, here lads, right? Everyone just gets an email. Lads, we're gonna see you Friday. Just don't go in. See how that goes, and fill in this questionnaire afterwards. Thanks.
Yeah.
Love your government.
And apparently it's supposed to help with productivity and efficiency, because people work a bit harder.
I genuinely do think everything could get done in 4 days. And then you have 3 days of the weekend, which also seems too little. But yeah, bring that in. And
the trade unions are also in favour of it, because they say that it helps, like, I've not got this right.
Well, it's just a good idea for workers.
It's kind of good if you're especially for skilled workers in factories, because when you have to slow down a bit, then you don't lose productivity if you're only working 4 days anyway, something like that. Don't quote me on that. But
I mean, it didn't even make sort of sense what you said, so I'm not going to.
Okay. Well, like when there's like a financial crisis or an economic downturn, they often have to lay a lot of people off. And I think that if you could keep a lot of people on if they was only working 4 days anyway,
right?
And then they wouldn't lose their income, and you wouldn't necessarily lose that much productivity.
Yeah.
I think it's something to do with that.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be a good idea. Anyway, Iceland does it, so it's probably good.
Probably all right. Yeah.
But only the Linker Party is in favour of this in this election.
Why? Oh, because everyone else wants like fucking middle class retirees votes. They're like, I worked 5 days my whole life. I'm like, did you? And were you able to afford like a house and shit? Because we can wave that dream goodbye. And also, why would I buy a house when it's just going to get flooded? Because y'all want to drive Volkswagens around until you die.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I totally agree with you.
Right. All of this is dumb apart from Die Linke.
So I guess...
Which no one will vote in, because why would we? Why save the planet when we can just drive around whatever speed we want for the next 5 years?
Number 2.
Yes.
In my bad ideas. Actually, this should be number 1, because it is the worst idea.
Oh, is that how we're counting down? Because I think you've started definitely with the worst and gone to the best.
Oh, right. Well, the next one's an AFD one.
Oh God, right.
Which was announced
Ignore the
today.
scale, because otherwise we're going to be accused of being Nazis.
I'm just creating... The scale is not a value judgment. It's just to create tension to see what's going to be number 1.
Right.
Which I still don't know at the moment what it's going to be.
I mean, that's pretty tense.
Yeah. So number 2...
I'm so drunk and I feel horrible. It's like a horrible hot drunk. Like my skin is itchy. I definitely think there's real weed in here.
Okay. The AFD thinks that Germany should recognise the Taliban as the legitimate government of Afghanistan, reopen an embassy in Kabul in order... Why would they want this? So that they can deport more people there.
Right.
Which is the best way of doing it.
I think I mentioned this previously. There's quite a lot of crossover between, the values of fascists in this country and the Taliban. We want a little Luftbrücke, a little air bridge. We're going to fill some planes with people who might want to go and find out, how they can really stamp on women's rights rather than just, not having abortion. They go there. bring people who want to come here. Yeah, like an exchange. Can we make that happen? Is that what the AfD means? We're going to go and...
I mean, you would think that it would take the AfD to be in power here for anyone to make friends with the Taliban. I mean, that's what it would take. You could imagine it. You could imagine you could imagine them, agreeing on things.
There's quite a lot of things they'd agree on. That's the fucking irony, because literally the only problem that the AfD have with that kind of government, I would imagine, is that they're Islamophobic just because they're racist. But they actually agree on many other things.
Yeah.
It's like sort of this kind of weird, Pride and Prejudice sort of rom-com thing. Are they going to realize that actually the thing keeping them apart is pointless?
Which leaves us with number one.
You're going to have to edit that out.
Number one in my policy countdown is the FDP.
Yes.
Who have a variety of interesting policies.
Yes.
In their manifesto. The big thing, the really big thing, like if they became the biggest party by some miracle, the big thing they would do is like cut a lot of tax. Like rich people would not have to pay very much tax. That'd be that's their main thing.
So how do we fund anything then?
Well, that is a lot of people have asked that too and pointed out that this isn't really worth it.
And what does Christian have to say for himself there?
Well, they also, because they unlike the SPD, for example, they don't want to stick to the black zero. Do you know about this black zero business?
No.
It's this sort of principle that a lot of German governments have, that they don't borrow more than they spend every year.
Okay, and didn't then Olaf kind of break that principle for during coronavirus?
Yeah. And now the SPD doesn't want to stick to it anyway. But the FDP does, but the FDP also wants to cut a lot of taxes. So people are saying, well, how are you going to figure this out then? They want to...
Oh, I know how they'll do it.
They want to... Yeah.
They'll just not pay for poor people's things anymore.
Yeah.
Yay!
They'll probably make them go and sweep the streets.
Fuck you,
free.
FDP.
They want to digitalize a lot. They want, for example...
Every single party is talking, obviously, about digitalizing education.
Yeah.
And to date, I've heard nothing which actually... Except for, and I will give them this, the FDP thinks that individual schools should be in charge of their budget, and I do agree with that. Not because I don't agree with kind of like local authorities having control over education, and anything moving towards like away from that is scary. That's what we see with the academy system in the UK, and particularly in England. However, the bureaucracy is a lot of the problem with schools, particularly in Berlin, where there actually has been quite a lot of money apparently pumped into computers in schools.
Yeah.
But it's such a long and bureaucratic process to have anything happen. And if schools had control over their own budget, which they do in lots of other places, then that would be solved. So I'll give the FDP on that.
But the FDP aren't promising every kid to have a laptop or a tablet, are they? Because the SPD are.
Well, yeah, but they've also had an SPD fucking Bildungssenatorin Sandra Scheeres in power in Berlin for ages and hasn't managed to make that happen. So, despite quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, what else are the FDP saying?
They also want to introduce something called learning analytics into education.
I think you mentioned this. What is this?
This is when...
Tell me of your business, white boy nonsense about education, because you think what I do is essentially pointless and not a profession.
It is a kind of it's like plugging the entire education system into an AI.
Right, yeah.
And it involves gathering like test data from across the country.
Yeah.
And measuring it and analysing it differently, and this is supposed to help to make learning environments more efficient.
Great, yeah.
And apparently they do it in China already, and in America, and in Japan.
Yeah, great, wonderful.
Okay.
It's absolute horseshit. Like I could go on a whole big rant about the neoliberalization of the education system in certain places, kind of how you just mentioned, one of the glorious things about teaching in Germany is that they have not bought into this idea of like insane standardized testing and everything. There are massive problems with the German education system, but that is not the solution. The solution is to have teachers be responsible, have better things for that. Maybe don't amp them because that's insane.
You don't want them to be bantered.
No. Sorry. I mean, if that's your choice as a teacher, yes. I find it weird that as a teacher you would choose to do that. I find it odd because their thing on Meinungsfreiheit is so big. We're not allowed to sort of say one party over the other or anything like that, and we have to always kind of show both sides and everything. That's in like the Schulgesetz, like the school law. However, if you're beamtet, like, so for people who don't understand what that means, it basically means kind of like getting tenure, I guess. So you have a certain status as a teacher where you're employed on a different, I don't actually really know how it works. You're not employed by, how does it work? What does it mean?
I thought it means that you're officially a civil servant.
Yes, that's what it means, rather than employed by, I guess, the education authority. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whether it's not. So, but it's very sought after in some places, and it's a Bundesland thing. Berlin used to have it and they don't have it anymore. You get paid lots, but then you have private healthcare then. You can't, and you also can't strike. And that to me is super weird. Like, you do become like a tool of the state.
Yeah.
And I find that very strange. And again, difficult to marry with this idea of like Meinungsfreiheit, where it's all supposed to be like, we don't want the Nazis to happen again. And we're like, sweet, probably gonna try not to do that. And then like, so don't tell people what to vote. I'm like, okay, but also if you want to be like, get loads of money and like a sweet deal, and you could basically unfireable and your pension will be great, you can do this thing where you become an arm of the state. I'm like, but what about not representing political parties? And like, shh, that's only about opposition. It's weird. Like, that to me is strange.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into it, so I couldn't say what whether being a civil servant is better or worse.
Well, you can't strike, which I think is insane as a teacher, like fully insane. But I also find the striking laws here mad anyway, so.
I think you can only strike over pay, can't you?
Apparently so, yes, over your tarif.
Yeah.
But then I did hear this morning, there's been quite a lot of strikes happening in Germany this week, haven't there? There's been the train strike, which is quite like controversial.
Yeah.
But also a big one that started today was Pflegekräfte, so care, nursing staff and care staff in two of the major hospitals, I think, or like Charité and Vivantes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is huge. And they, on the radio, they said, I don't know whether they were meaning it literally or kind of more holistically, they said this is not necessarily about pay, it's about working conditions. So I don't know. What the holy hell were we talking about? Oh, the fucking FDP.
Yeah, well, that was number one. I got through the whole list.
Well done. That's insane. It's all mad, apart from Die Linke 4-day week. That's Megan's take on that. No.
So I hope you found this helpful.
I did.
Not just you, I meant the listeners as well.
Oh,
but
well,
you too.
Obviously, I always find everything that you say helpful, Conrad. But this Megacan is insane.
Yeah, I haven't finished mine.
Maybe it's because I haven't drunk any alcohol since like Sunday.
Oh,
I had a little bit of a beer yesterday.
I don't think it really has got real drugs in it.
I don't agree with you. I think you've spiked my drink. It's the only thing I can describe.
Well, it wasn't me. It was.
It tastes all right now.
Well, yeah.
But that is the thing with Megas, isn't it? Do you remember I told you that I was introducing my brother to Megas? And he was like, this is disgusting. And I was like, just you wait till the effect kicks in. And he was like, God, I wish I had another one. And then a week after he went home, he was going to a party. And it was a big party. And I knew, I was like, oh, you're getting ready? Like, it was dress up or something. He's like, yeah, really want a Megacan. I was like, yeah. And on that happy note,
yes.
If you're in the sunshine, I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I hope you enjoy your weekend.
And we'll be back next week with more kind of election fun times.
Yes, hopefully.
Fun,
Bye.
Fun being a relative concept. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.